So for online article number 7, I did an article titled Teachers Use Technology in Innovative Educational Ways. It was about two different classrooms in the state of Alabama. One was a second grade classroom taught by Jane Kemp, and in this classroom they were learning about sea turtles, and she decided that rather than just reading from the book, she was going to Skype in to a sea turtle hospital somewhere in the state. And she said that this was a really good experience for the kids because rather than just teaching something out of a book and just reading about sea turtles, they actually got to see someone that works with sea turtles every single day and brings them back to health, and they got to learn way more about them than they otherwise would have. Uh, she also said that students know how to use technology coming into the classroom a lot more these days. A lot of students come from homes with smartphones and laptops and tablets, all sorts of things. So a lot of students know how to use things like Skype. So when she uses them in the classroom, she felt that that was an effective way to integrate technology into her lessons. The same school uses active panels pretty regularly, which are a lot like smartboards. They also have Chromebooks and iPads. And for the older students, they have VR goggles, robotics items, and the VR goggles I found particularly interesting because it didn't go into specifics, but it did say that the history classes got a Revolutionary War experience. I don't know what this is because it didn't give an explanation, but I assume it was some kind of VR program where you could look around a Revolutionary War battle or camp and you could see it firsthand, which would be really valuable for a social studies classroom because it gives you that firsthand experience without actually, obviously, time traveling. Every class in that school also has a Google Classroom that the students are taught how to use, so that was just another way for them to integrate technology. This was all to meet state standards requiring digital literacy and technological proficiency. And then the other classroom that the article talked about was a German class taught by Kathy Rogers. She used FreshGrade. So FreshGrade allows students to keep track of the individual learning targets and how they're doing in each one, and you get a different grade for each one. So if you need to go back and work on something, you would be able to go back to that learning target and complete more proofs of your understanding, and you would be able to improve that grade individually. And this allows the students, she said, to own their learning. It allows them to keep track of their own progress and to work on the things that they feel they need to work on. And the sentiment that both the teachers really pushed was that technology is only as good as the way it is used. The first example, especially, Jane Kemp, she pushed the idea that just because you have technology to use doesn't mean it is automatically then effective. Like with her using Skype as an educational tool, she knew that students would be able to use Skype on their own. She knew that a lot of her students had family out of state or something like that. So she knew that they would know how to use Skype and how to use it as an educational tool instead of just introducing Skype to them and then leaving it at that. The second class I thought was really interesting because it sounds a whole lot like Canvas or Google Classroom or stuff like that. But this one, in my opinion, sounds like it's better for allowing students to keep track of themselves and allow them to work on the things that they want to work on and want to improve on, as well as make them want to improve on the things that they don't do as well on. I thought this was all really interesting and really good for future classrooms. It's a couple of tools and a couple of ideas that I could use in my own future as well, rather than just reading from the book about a certain war that happened in the past. In my future history classrooms, I could Skype in with a veteran and allow them to discuss their experience and to talk about it with the students if they would be willing. It's going to become increasingly this doesn't matter.